Yuji Itadori has officially arrived on the battlefield, and if you know anything about me, then you know I've been steaming for months waiting for my boy Yuji to rock up and show what he's cooking and what Gege has cooking for him. And in chapters 214, 215, and 222, we got our first glimpses of what he can be capable of, with Yuji getting into a fight with Sukuna, actively pushing him back. Yes, I'm well aware he was a weakened Sukuna, but that's not the point. All that matters is the agenda. Hitting. Anyway, regardless of Sukuna's position at that point, even he himself was absolutely, utterly surprised at just how strong Yuji was. I mean, prior to their first meeting in the air here, Yuji literally broke a building's rooftop simply from him jumping to the next building. And not long after this, Yuji is sprinting so fast, he is kicking up concrete. And it's at this point that Yuji has Sukuna thinking to himself, what is this strength? And that sentence right here is the premise for this entire video. Yuji's strength. It's something that we've seen demonstrated an incredible amount of times throughout the entire series. And even before Yuji had ingested Sukuna's first finger, Yuji was able to clear 4 stories of a building with a single jump as a human. That's not normal human behavior. But now in the most recent chapters, we've even got Yuji appearing on the battlefield looking absolutely demonic. Some might even say he looks like a demon god. But why? Why now? The latest hints that we saw of Yuji's Curse technique was a body, soul / swapping ability that he was training with Kusakabe, right? So why has this man all of a sudden rocked up to the battlefield with Piccolo's arms attached to his shoulders? There's a lot of theories flying around right now, but I do want to speculate on the option that Yuji might not just have one Curse tech, and rather actually might have multiple, because multiple people within this series have more than one Curse technique. Yuji's technique allows him to copy and store Curse techniques, and Jaku is using multiple Curse techniques with body hopping, anti-gravity system, and Curse spirit manipulation, and Yugi even speculated on the possible 4th CT that he had with under his belt. And then finally, Sukuna. Sukuna, as we know, he currently has 3 techniques: Cleaving the Mantle, the 10 Shadows, and then this mythical fire arrow that he used against Jogo and the Maharaga. But Kenjaku, Sukuna, and Yuji are the ones that I want to focus on, because those guys are all connected, and therein lies, I hope, the answer to Yuji's Curse technique and his absolutely insanely freaky strength. So settle down, grab some popcorn, make sure you subscribe, because we're about to get on a juicer Yuji Itadori crackpot theory video right now. Now, we are chartering into some crackpot theory bullshit territory, but you all know the drill by now. You know that's what I do around here. But Yuji is someone who's been created by Kenjaku, and Kenjaku right now is actively looking to create the perfect cursed energy being that we've all now come to know as the Merger. And Kenjaku's motive for this is literally just as simple as he's a curious dude. He's like that. He's a fully silly, goofy dude. But Kenjaku is incredibly knowledgeable, and is actually the only person canonically who knows and has been told to us to have taught Sukuna something that he now knows, which was how to split his soul. Prior to this, Sukuna didn't know how to do this, but Kenjaku taught him how to do this. Crackpot theory again inside of here, but I wonder if Kenjaku taught Sukuna an open domain. That's a video for another day. But who else in the series has that same learning speed? The only person that needs to be shown something once and then goes on to do it: Yuji Itadori. Yuji was taught by Todo how to harness the essence of his cursed energy and hit black flashes. He then goes on to set the consecutive black flash record on Hanami. Gojo also taught Yuji how to control his emotions and keep his cursed energy in check by watching films. This happened once, and by the time Gojo came back to check up on him, Yuji had already gained complete control over his cursed energy. This brother is an insanely fast learner, and there's been many theories of Yuji and Sukuna being related in some way, shape, or form, either through mythology points to them possibly being twins, but I think in the story lore, I would argue it's been pointed out more of them just being relatives rather than twins. For this, we need to look at Sukuna and Yuji's bloodline and one consistency between the two. Yuji, Jin Itadori, and Wasuke Itadori, and the generations as they get older all start to look more and more like a certain individual. Sukuna. Do I think Sukuna and Yuji look alike? Absolutely fucking not. Sure, Sukuna in Yuji's innate domain, yes, they obviously look alike at this point, but true form High-Era Sukuna as we've known him does not look like Yuji. Now, his grandpa? That's a different story. Someone who absolutely does have the look and similarities of Sukuna. The washback hair, the wider nose, the jawline. Everything about that points to him being somewhat related to Sukuna. Now, what do these people all have in common? Kenjaku. Every one of these people have all met Kenjaku at some point in their lives. Both Jin and Wasuke had seemingly close interactions with Kenjaku, and it just so happens that Kenjaku is the mother of none other than Yuji Itadori, which was confirmed to us by Kenjaku himself. Kenjaku also created the cursed womb death paintings in search of creating the next form of cursed energy, something that's completely new and different, and he planned to do this by merging Tengen with non-sorcerers within Japan. Now here's where we're getting really crazy crackpottery here. I think Kenjaku unknowingly might have already succeeded with his plan. You see, Yuji was A, a non-sorcerer in Japan, and B, a non-sorcerer in Japan who merged with someone who'd evolved past humanity. How do we know this? Gojo once told us the history of Ryomen Sukuna and refers to Sukuna as a human. Now, does this look like any human you've ever seen before? Absolutely fucking not. The dude is a monstrosity and was actually labeled the king of curses. If I had to bet, I would say he's on the same level as Tengen, and Kenjaku himself even made the connection between Tengen, a confirmed evolved being, and the way Sukuna looks. Those connections are very strong and they're very similar. They both have 4 eyes and the nose of us got wider, so maybe there's a connection there. But where does this all lead us? Where does this crazy crackpot theory lead us? I believe it leads us to Yuji, in fact, being the first merger of a non-human and an evolved being, something that Kenjaku actively said he expects great things from. And this is where Yuji's curse technique comes in. Well, at least I think it does. For a long time, people have theorized that Sukuna is able to gain a new curse technique via consumption. We know Sukuna has multiple techniques. We know Uraume literally was Sukuna's chef and was able to cook and marinate curse spirits so he could take a bath. Uraume's a very skilled motherfucker when it comes to that kind of stuff. And we also know that Yuji has done nothing but eat shit the entire series. He's eaten many of Sukuna's fingers. He's also actively said that he's willing to eat anything in order to kill Sukuna. And then more recently, it was heavily implied that Yuji had consumed the final Chaos Womb Death Paintings, also known as his brothers, that Kenjaku had also created, which now leads me to believe that Yuji right now might be the first prototype of this merger that Kenjaku wants to improve upon and create another one further, obviously out of curiosity. But as for Yuji's curse technique, or techniques that could be, out of the 3 Chaos Womb Death Paintings that we've seen, they all used a form or variation of blood manipulation in some way, shape, or form. But this doesn't really fit Yuji's style, and it doesn't even fit the evidence that we've been given so far. You see, the evidence being that Yuji's insane physical strength, which is, I mean, you could possibly argue that that is a kind of a flowing red scale stack that's always being used. I mean, you could make that argument. Again, I still don't think it fits. But also, blood manipulation doesn't even fit with what Gojo had said about Yuji one day being able to inherit Sukuna's curse technique. It doesn't fit with Shoko saying that Yuji was like a cursed object now after being steeped in Sukuna's cursed energy for so long. And blood manipulation clearly doesn't fit the most recent 2 pieces of evidence that we have, with 1, Yuji being simply able to swap bodies with Kusakabe while they were training. Apparently that was a thing that happened. And number 2, Yuji's arms and hands looking completely and utterly different on his arrival to the battlefield right now. They look more in line with Sukuna's curse technique and similar to how his hands looked when he first appeared in the series after taking over Yuji's body. And there's a lot of little hand motions here. There's a lot of nods and winks to the hands of Yuji Itadori over the series. So overall, my theory here is that Yuji is rocking up with multiple curse techniques in a similar fashion to his papi Kenjaku and possible brothers Sukuna. As for what those curse techniques will or can do, we just simply can't know. If he has multiple, there are then so many more options here. But I am extremely excited to see what this curse technique is. Gege has been foreshadowing this for a very long time. These curse techniques could range from anything from a weird form of heavily restriction. They could be blood manipulation, it could be body swapping, soul swapping, gravity manipulation, anti-gravity manipulation, or it could be an improved variation of what Sukuna's technique already is currently, which is possibly cleave and dismantle. I don't know, but all I do know is that when this technique does land, it's going to be insanely mind-blowing, because the foreshadowing that Gege has put into this literally since day 1 has been insane, so he must be cooking something insane for Yuji. But I want to pass that question off to you guys. I want to throw the theory out there and ask you guys, what do you think what Yuji's technique could be? What do you think it could be? Do you think it could be something that I've said? Do you think it could be something completely different? Or do you think he's just not even get a technique at all? Could just actually just be cursed tools that he's got on his arms? But that is everything from me. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I put out a juicer Yuji theory video. It's one of my favorite things to theorize. That and souls in Jujutsu Kaisen. But let me know what you think of all of this in the comments down below. And as always, I will catch you guys all in the next one. Much love. Big kisses. Peace.